everyone, and welcome to Sidereal Insights Astro Update for April 8th, 2019. We're just starting a little bit late today, so thanks for your patience. I'm 𝗕𝘀𝗀𝗏. I'm the astrologer and artist of Mystic, Physick, Astrology, and I use Western Sidereal Astrology in my practice to really kind of help you reconnect with your soul purpose and to remember why you came into the world to begin with. And so really with the broadcasts, the idea is providing guidance for you on how you can consciously use the energy of the transiting planets to affect your life in a positive way as you move towards that soul purpose. So welcome. Every 2 weeks on Sidereal Insights, we explore the astrology of the current planetary transits across the heavens from a Western sidereal perspective. And so specifically, we're using the 𝗕𝘀𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀 sidereal zodiac in the broadcast. If you need to look up your sign placements, you can do that online. There's a free online calculator at mystickphysick.com/sidereal tools. But what I'm going to do is put this link to that, to that calculator in the comments of the video so that if you need to look up your chart while you're watching, you certainly can. So give me just one moment. I have to refresh my browser and pull up the broadcast, which I haven't done just yet. But thanks for joining me. I apologize. We're running a few minutes late. It's been kind of an odd day, not quite really prepared. So I'm feeling a little off my game. But let's talk about, so we have some current transits that we want to go over for this particular period of, I turned off my keyboard here. I don't have the right thing copied to my clipboard. Things aren't cooperating today. I'm going to move on and we'll add the link to that later. I'm just going to like put a pin in that because it's not working. So let's correct this. So, this right now, what we have moving into April, we have retrogrades coming upon us. We're entering like a kind of our summer slowdown here in the northern hemisphere. Is more of a holiday slowdown if you're in the southern hemisphere, maybe over the winter months. We have Mars going out of bounds. We have the full moon in Libra coming up. Plus, I have a correction for you regarding April 2019 overview at the website. So that's what's on the agenda for today. If you can hear me and see me okay, feel free to let me know in the comments. So where we're at right now, we have the sun currently finishing up his tour through Sidereal Pisces, right? That's going to last until the 15th of April when he moves into Aries. And that's going to really kind of energize life a little bit more for us, right? And specifically for you as the watcher, it's going to energize life wherever you have Aries in your natal chart or Aries, say, in your progressed chart. Or in your solar return chart, you could look for Aries and see if you see a little bit of energy just kind of like popping up in that part of your chart. So you can look at these houses in different charts of your own natal chart, different ways, different time frames, and kind of get a sense of how Sun in Aries might be energizing life for you. But this is very stimulative. It's about new beginnings kind of, and the germination of seeds that you planted already, right? Especially in that area of life ruled by Aries in your charts. In Pisces right now, this is really kind of our last week to spend in rest and reflection and just kind of like doing a little bit of self-care to recharge our batteries, right? Selfless service is something that we talked about in the last broadcast. For while we have Sun in Pisces, that can be an excellent way to spend some time. But just kind of take this last week of Sun in Pisces to make sure that you're really like attending to your own energy levels before we feel the Sun move into Aries, because you'll need to tap into that energy once the Sun makes that shift. 22nd of March, we just had Venus move into Aquarius, right? She's there for about 3 weeks or so until mid-April. And that's kind of bucking trends and paving one's own way stylistically. So this is really kind of about true equality. It's about authentically free expression. It's about how we recognize our shared values, right? The next, on the 16th though, so just after mid-month, Venus is going to move on. She's going to be moving into the sign of the water bear in Pisces, and she's going to be in exaltation there. So for Venus, what that means, now, keep in mind, exalted planets, they display their finest qualities, right? We get to see the best aspects when planets are the best nature. We get to see their finest nature, right? When planets are exalted. And so for Venus, what that means is cooperation, right? That means generosity, fairness. It means harmony, right? Venus is also excellent for artistic ability, beauty. I think we mentioned fairness, but really kind of above all, while she's moving through Pisces, this is really an opportunity for love, for genuine appreciation, for expressing that. Keeping in mind that Pisces is a water sign. It's an emotional placement. So just kind of keep an eye on once she makes that move into Pisces while she's exalted. See if you can't carry with you during that time a practice of anytime you notice yourself appreciating something about life or something that someone else has done for you or something someone said, maybe even the clothes someone is wearing, you're appreciating them for their beauty or their quality, right? Just pass on those compliments, pass on those expressions of genuine love and appreciation while Venus is moving through Sidereal Pisces coming up. She'll be entering, like I said, on the 16th, so in just about a week. We also have, right now, we have Mars in Taurus. He moved into Taurus on the 23rd of March. It's about a 6-week long stay. So he's going to be in the sign of the bull until, what did I say here? The last week of May. So Mars, we have a little more time to tap into his energy when he moves through a sign, which is great because you want to be able to leverage that initiative while he's in a sign. In Taurus, right, this is the sign of the bull. This is a little bit more tempered placement, right? Aries is fiery. This is Mars is fiery. This is the warrior planet, right? This is kind of a aggressive and competitive type of nature, right? Well, Taurus is a little bit more passive. And so you can expect to see maybe a little bit more passive aggression in yourself and in others while we have Mars moving through Taurus. You're still going to feel that Martian drive to win when you're in competition or in conflict, right? To have your own way, but you're going to try to achieve that in ways that are expressing as passive aggressive potentially. It's like being stubborn, being resolute, being headstrong, digging in your heels and not wanting to concede on things, right? So less outright aggression, but it's still really kind of aggressive expression for Mars when he's moving through Taurus. So just kind of be cognizant of that as you're going through, your life and going through work and daily life, because you'll want to just kind of see where you can help modify, potentially your behavior or be less reactive to other people's behavior. And that's going to be important coming up, especially later in the month when Mars moves out of bounds. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit more detail because I do have a correction for you in the April overview at the website regarding what I wrote for Mars out of bounds. So coming up, what we want to know, we've got the full moon in Libra on the 19th. I'm skipping over a couple of important aspects just because I know we have some other stuff to talk about in this broadcast. On the April 19th, we have our full moon in Libra, right? This is really a wonderful opportunity because we have Venus exalted during her full moon. So this is about collaboration and advocacy and working together in our interpersonal relationships to bring those types of projects to conclusion, especially where we have to interrelate with someone else to move forward to a conclusion. So tap into that, right? We're striving for ideals right now, right? When we hit this full moon, because by then Venus will have moved into Pisces. And so this is really about striving for ideals, mutually beneficial results, right? Win-win outcomes that mean growth for both parties. With Venus in exaltation in Pisces, that's the sign of self-sacrifice, right? So we very well may find ourselves stepping into, like, being willing to do a little bit of self-sacrifice in that spirit of cooperation so that we can move to beneficial conclusions within our interpersonal relationships. So leverage that. That's fabulous energy to be tapping into. It's a great time also to kind of indulge in appreciation of the arts, music, other entertainments, and it can be profitable for business and partnerships as well, because especially Venus being exalted at that full moon. So one caveat, though, that I want to hand to you to keep in mind. Venus is largely unaspected at this full moon. So even though she's exalted, that's going to have a wild card effect. There could be some unpredictable behavior. Now, personally, my inclination is that any unpredictability on Venus's behalf should still manifest in a way that embodies her highest and best qualities. However, I just want to caution you, because she's unaspected, just be vigilant. You could see some codependent behavior. You could see the tendency to indecision. You could see these lack of aspects to modify Venus make her influence a little bit more unpredictable. So the manifestation of some of her less desirable traits, I mean, maybe that's possible around the full moon itself. Just keep an eye on that. But watch, it could just be pleasant surprises all the way around. We'll keep an eye on things, and let me know. You can always come back to the broadcast or let me know in the Sidereal Insights group like what your experience is, especially when we do the full moon and the new moon practices in Sidereal Insights. Mars out of bounds. Let's talk about this. So Mars is going to go out of bounds on the 20th. On the 20th of April, out of bounds, we talk about this every once in a while, so I just kind of want to refresh you. Out of bounds, planets are kind of rebellious, they misbehave, they don't follow the conventional rules or expectations, right? If you ever heard the phrase beyond the pale, like, which kind of describes beyond what's considered acceptable, right? That's kind of how out of bounds planets can play out. And Mars, he goes out of bounds on the 20th. He's going to be out of bounds through mid-June. And so what we're going to see is his best and worst qualities on display in everybody while he's transiting. So we're going to experience this tendency to become more headstrong, more driven, more ambitious, potentially. Our courage can run higher when Mars is out of bounds. And so we might be more willing to be brave or to take risks that require courage or that require stepping through our fears or getting outside of our comfort zone, right? Because remember, Mars, it's that energy of initiative. It's the energy of being pioneering and doing things that no one else has done before, right? So take advantage of that, and then on the flip side, be vigilant, right? Because we can also be a lot more self-centered, a lot more impulsive. We can be a lot more overly aggressive when Mars is out of bounds, and that can influence us to overreact in rash and uncharacteristically, aggressive or violent ways. So just like keep that in mind and work to moderate your own responses to people and try to be patient as much as you can, and express compassion for other folks because they're going to be behaving the same way. This is going to affect all of us. So we're going to be picking fights unprovoked, overreacting in anger. Just watch for the tendency and try to manage it as best you can, both for yourself and for your personal interactions with other people. Practice forgiving and forgetting. That's really the best thing to do when Mars is out of bounds. Let stuff go, forgive and forget. Like I said, this is going to last until mid-June. So watch for that to be expressed in your life and in the lives of people around you. Sun conjunct Uranus coming up. So this is April 22nd. The Sun and the Uranus are meeting up. They usually do this once a year. If you have Aries, Leo, or Aquarius, Sun or rising sign, you're most likely to feel this, and it can express as accidents and unexpected events. And especially in Aries, which is the sign that rules the head, it can be accidents to the head in some way. So be careful of that. If you have a planet or personal point at 7 or 8 degrees of Aries, you're going to feel it a lot more strongly. That's where this conjunction is taking place. But if you also have 7 or 8 degrees of Leo or Aquarius, it's going to activate your chart by trine. So hopefully you'll feel that a little more favorably because it is activating by trine. And then for other folks, have a look at where you might be experiencing squares or oppositions to that point, because you can feel it a little more challenging. Just be vigilant. And normally what I like to encourage folks when we have this particular aspect, any kind of challenging aspect between the Sun and Uranus, especially when accidents are likely, just take extra care for safety. Take whatever safety precautions would be normal for you. Don't skimp in that regard. And make sure, don't leave hazards about your house or your workspace that could cause issues later on unexpectedly. But like I said, those readers who are born under the signs of the Lion or the Ram, could be feeling a little bit more rebellious or impulsive right now. And so there can be, or at least around this aspect, which is coming up on the 22nd, like I said. But there's a risk of accidents, injuries, things like cuts or burns, puncture wounds, accidents to the head. These are things that are common with Aries and with Uranus, okay, in terms of the risk of accident. If you have Aquarius sun or rising, you're going to feel a little bit more energized by this transit, maybe a bit invigorated. And so you might find yourself also in the spotlight in some way near the 22nd, especially if you have a planet or point near 7 or 8 degrees of Aries. So watch for that. And then finally, we have some announcements. It's not too late to set your intentions for the new moon in Sidereal Pisces. So remember, you do have 10 days after the new or full moon for your practice. I'll share a link for that in the comments. Let's see if I can actually share a link this time. And if I can, we'll go back and we'll try and share that other link. Haha, look, it worked. I finally had the right thing on the clipboard. That's what happens when you accidentally Control V when you were supposed to Control C. Oops. So, with Mars out of bounds, if you read the April overview and horoscopes at the website, you may want to go back and read up. I had to make a correction, and it just came out to me today while I was preparing my notes for the broadcast. So I've had Neptune transiting my 9th house Jupiter for a while, right? Neptune's a pretty slow moving transit. And so brain fog, oh my goodness, brain fog. Anyway, so today while I was doing the notes for the broadcast, I noticed that I happened to leave text in the April overview referring to Mars retrograde, which was from last year. And I don't know how I did this. I either didn't save an edit or I posted the wrong edit. I just want to apologize. Mars is not going to be retrograde in 2019. He is out of bounds. Last year, he was out of bounds and retrograde at the same time, which was a lot more complicated. But I've made a correction to that. So if you want to go through and read before that transit hits so that you can update your understanding of how it might affect you. And I do apologize if I leaked any of my Neptune transit onto you as the readers. But there is a correction, and there you can catch up on what the correction is at the website. I just want to let you know about that. And then let's see what else on our announcements. I am moved back down in my notes. You can join me on the 18th of April, so coming up shortly, at 7:30 Mountain Daylight Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 2:30 a.m. British Standard Time, and 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I'm pretty sure I have that correct. If you're watching from Australia and I have that wrong, please correct me. So this is April 18th. We're having our full moon in Sidereal Libra, releasing practice in the Sidereal Insights Astrology community on Facebook. You do have to be a member of the group to join me live, or you can always watch the replay on our YouTube channel or right here on the Facebook page. But thanks for joining me. I would like to invite you, if you get anything out of these broadcasts, please feel free to tag a friend or share them with someone you know who may also benefit from what we talk about. I want to thank you for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.